My name is Larry Lesher. I'm the steward of Eastward Gardens. That is eastward as in going towards the east. Everybody wants to say Eastwood. The Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden. So that's where we get our name from. We started this farm about 3 years ago. We came to a piece of land that was really kind of not the best piece of land, and we've been doing a lot of remediation here. I originally started out as a skateboarder as a youth. I grew up in the inner cities of Louisville, Kentucky, and moved on in life to be a snowboarder and a skateboarder. When I was going to the grocery store, I realized I'd become a vegetarian early in my life based on just sort of philosophical ideas, and realized that the foods that I was finding on the grocery store shelves really they weren't the best things probably to be consuming. And so as I started to look into that a little closer, I became very kind of distrustful with the GMOs and a lot of the things, just pesticides, herbicides, things that are designed to kill things being on my food didn't strike me as the best idea. So as I contemplated those things, I realized that really the only option I had was to grow my own food. So I kind of took that up and interned on a farm for a season, and straight from there went and started my own farm. A lot of people say that it's very difficult for someone who hasn't grown up on a farm to start a farm. Well, I would challenge you to disbelieve that statement and take up the challenge. Elliot Coleman said, if you want to be a farmer, the best way to go about it is to start farming. And so I would second that. When I started farming, I realized that I had a pretty steep learning curve, and was lucky enough to be in the Pacific Northwest, the first farm I ever had, and was with a really, really good community of farmers that taught me basically the ins and outs of farming. And we brought it back here to this farm in Louisville, Kentucky, or we're outside of Louisville, Kentucky in southern Indiana, just across the Ohio River. And we grow about 150 varieties of fruits and vegetables. We farm with a veganic model, which means we don't use any animal products, and we base our fertility on basically cover cropping, green manures. We do remineralization through rock powders and different products of that nature, meaning that we don't just expect the land to tend itself. We're stewards of this land. We've been given a role to not just take from the land. Oftentimes I find that agriculture is a model not far different from the industrial model, which is we shotgun approach our application of something, and we never really take the time to look at the scientific values of what's there and what needs to be replaced. And so as we go through that process, we're using very specific measurements through soil analysis, through observation, to determine how do we come to meet the design. When I look at the ground, I see that there's a complexity that's beyond happenstance. And so we're approaching this from a design model where we realize that there's an end goal, and that is a symbiotic relationship between the ground and the plant. The ground, the soil is a living organism, as most people know nowadays, but what they don't realize is that even the negative parts of the diseases, the bacteria, the fungi that are negatively affecting the plants is because of mineral deficiency in our soils. It's because of seeds that are genetically manipulated. And even if you think the organic seeds, we have cell fusion that we deal with, even in the organic side, where they're manipulating cellular level things. And we're finding ourselves to have to be more and more aware and careful about what we choose to put in the ground. One of the reasons why I buy heirloom seeds is specifically for that reason. I know that technology wasn't even available at that time, and it's the only safe place to go get seeds oftentimes. And so we're coming back to a place where we're wanting to revitalize that ground in a way that those microbes, even the negatives, the plant has enough nourishment to service. This is about service. I'm servicing my community, but I'm also servicing the ground the plant grows in. And so very serious about creating an environment where that plant has the ability to then service its environment. You get the exudates, you get all of the things that the plant is doing to service the microorganisms that build humus, that builds this symbiotic relationship with its environment that creates an Edenic state. It creates a place that flourishes, a place that is vibrant and alive, and not a place of disease and disharmony, but a place where we can go and rest, a place where we can be nourished, where when we service it, it services us back, and we find health and vitality. And that's what we're doing here at Eastward Gardens. I'd invite you to come to our website and see what we're all about. If you're interested in getting good seed, I would recommend Baker Creek to you. They make wonderful. They have a wonderful selection of seeds, and I'm just excited about what's going on in this community. Very excited about how this community is growing, and invite you to get your feet in the water.